Your calling is buried in your background and life experience. Your calling is buried in your background and life experience. Can you believe that? So, God rules over the circumstances of our lives, and I would like it or not. God knows and God sees. God knows exactly what circumstances you are going to be born in. God knew before you were born what circumstances you are going to be born in. God knew what kind of family you are going to be born in. And God knew why you needed to be born in that family. God knew why you needed to be born in around those circumstances and in those surroundings that you are born in. God didn't just know about your background. God caused that background to come to be. God is not just aware of your circumstances. God put them together. God arranged for them. Why? Is it that it's wicked? No, not really. It's so that you will not miss him. It's so that you will not miss your destiny. It's so that you will not miss your calling in life. It's so that you will be equipped to do what you need to be done, what you must do. God knows about your circumstances. He knows about your situation. And he put those things together to help formulate and provoke in you the discovery of the nature, the potential, the resources, the talents, the abilities, and the uniqueness he had buried in you before you were born. Resistance is inevitable for progress. For a child that must walk, there must be resistance. There must be challenges. If a child is not being pushed, it's not being challenged, it's not being given something to resist, some form of resistance, that child's muscles will never develop. That child's muscles will never grow enough to become strong to support him to walk. Well, the same thing with us. God put your circumstances together. God put your background together. God sent you to that background. You think it's some of us are afraid of our background. Some of us are afraid of our background. Some of us are afraid are ashamed of the circumstances of our birth. Some of us don't like to revisit our background. Well, I don't think it's the wisest of option. I don't think it's the wisest of decision. Even if you don't want to expose or tell people the circumstances of your birth or your background, it will do you well, at least for you by yourself, in the quietness and the secrecy of your heart, to keep on visiting those backgrounds time and time again. It will do well for you to keep on bringing back to your own memory the circumstances of your birth. There is a reason for your circumstances, and there is a reason for your background. It is not because it is your background that puts your vision in you. It is not because it is the circumstances of your birth that put your destiny in you or your calling in you. No. What they do is that they provoke. You need some certain circumstances to provoke the discovery of what is already put in you. It's just like saying you have an orange. Let's say you have an orange, and you say, how do I extract juice from this orange? There are different circumstances. There is only one or a few means by which you could extract juice from that orange. But most of those conditions to get that juice from the orange will have to do with pressure. You need some kind of pressure. But then if you put that orange in a cup, let's say this is the orange. Let's say this is the orange, right? And you say, okay, I want the juice to come out from the orange into the cup. So at the means that you have decided to use, or the method that you have decided to use to get the orange from the juice, to get the juice from the orange, is just by putting the orange inside the cup. You see, the circumstances the safety of the cup and just by being inside the cup is not the conducive environment to extract juice. So just by putting an orange inside the cup that would not extract, would not get the juice from it. Even if the orange is already cut, it will still not get the juice from it. So you need another kind of situation. You need other kinds of circumstances for you to be able to extract that juice from that orange. But if you take that orange and put the cup down and squeeze it and apply pressure and cut it and apply pressure, then the juice will come out. But so the same thing with us. So there are some people, because of your life calling, God knows that you, with the kind of destiny you have waiting for you, it will not be good for you if you are born in a rich family, because you'll be pampered. God knows that that rich family, it will be like putting that orange in the cup without applying pressure on it, and without the necessary pressure, all the inbuilt resources, all the inbuilt capacity that needs to come out and be discovered in you will never come out. You need some amount of pressure. So because God knows your destiny and your calling, and He knows the thing that must be provoked from inside you, for the juice of God's grace and blessing to be released from your life, that's when it will begin. It will leave Europe alone. It will just leave Europe alone, and it will abandon America and go to a place in Africa called Idomila, a village of 40 huts, for example, and say, yes, that is where I want you to be born. And they will put you in that circumstance where you grow up without shoes or without slippers, without anything, so that the circumstance will just be right to put enough, to put enough pressure in you and to press you from all circumstances, from all area, from all surrounding, so much that the juice will be flowing. The juice will be flowing freely. Yeah, but if they had put you in the circumstance of the house of a millionaire, of well-to-do people, and there is no pressure, nothing, the juice will never come out. So what I'm trying to say is that what I'm trying to say really is that every one of us, God is aware of your circumstances, the circumstances of your birth. God is aware. God is aware. God is aware. Did you suffer some abuse in your life? Your life experiences, have they been tough? Don't tell me God is not aware. God is aware. God is aware. Have you seen sorrow? Have you seen pain? Well, God is aware. Because there is something that God is preparing you for. Your life destiny, your goal, your purpose, your mission, your calling is hidden in the things that you pass through. It's not because your calling is hidden in those things, but those things help you to discover them. Those things help you to, to look inside. The things that God has already buried in you, the things that God has already put in you, in your creation, in your makeup. You need some circumstances to provoke them to come out. You need some circumstances, some situation that must be in place. Some things must be right. Some things must fall in place for that particular, discovery to take place. So your background is important to God. So any attempt by you to neglect your background and to overlook your background, it might not be wise. Might not be wise. Because you might need to keep on going to that background to get strength for the things that you need to face and for the things that you need to go through. Let me try to tell you a little bit about my story. Try to tell you a little bit of my story. I have my book that is called Olorunwa. Olorunwa. If you're a European or American, don't even try to pronounce it. You might not make it. It's going to be tough for you. Olorunwa is called. Well, in that book, I've written my story. And I was born, like I said, in a village of about 40 houses, 40 huts. and very difficult condition, and we had a big tragedy in our home. My senior brothers who are well-to-do, lost their lives. They died, and when I was 6, so at the age of 6, life turned into mystery. Everything became so bad. We had to go to the bush and to the forest to be fetching for firewood. They call them firewood. Wood, fire, wood. There's a wood for fire, for electricity, so to say, for fire, for energy. So we will go and fell the trees and dry them, and then cut them in pieces, dry them, and put them together, and then put them on your head. Have you seen Africans carrying things on their head like that, like this? Africans carrying things on their head like this? Well, I used to be like that. I grew up carrying things on my head like this, and sometimes I would be carrying those firewood on my head, and I walk kilometers upon kilometers from my village to the city. I will wake up 5 o'clock in the morning, go and gather the wood together, pack it. Sometimes we pack it in the night before, and then in the morning I have to quickly go to the town and sell the tree, the wood, and then run back to the village so that I could go back to school at 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock I must be in classes. So yeah, at 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock we finish from class, and I eat, and the next thing I do, I must go to the bush and to the forest. And if you've been to Africa or you are from Nigeria, the sun is crazy. The sun is crazy. Oh, those suns. Ooh. And I'm in that sun all year long. And falling trees. I mean, if you look at my body, I have over 400, just in my legs alone, over 200 wounds and scars in my legs alone. And yeah, but how could something like that ever be beneficial? I mean, it's like suffering. It's like just a bunch of pain and just a bunch of pain. And how can that kind of thing be ever beneficial? Well, I discovered it. First of all, that is one circumstance that I discovered. Let me just give you one example how that has been beneficial. When I came to Russia to study, I needed to learn the language, the Russian language, and I came so late. I was so late, and anyway, by the assessment of the professor, that the professor said I would never speak the language. And when I said, "Oh, by God's grace," he said, "God?" He said, "I'm an atheist. I don't believe in God. But if God will ever help you, I will go and light a candle in the church. I don't believe there is God anyway, so it would never happen. God will never help you. Even God cannot help you." When he said that, I went to my God and prayed and said, "God, did you see what this teacher has said? He said you should just better go back home right now." I was going to lose my scholarship, and that was my way out from that village. And so I prayed. After praying, I discovered one secret before then, and that secret was that when you pray, you walk as well. So that before you could ask God to help you do anything, you must have done your best. So I prayed, but I also told myself, I said, this professor said I would never learn the language. I remember when I was growing up in my village, I would go to school in the morning. Before I go to school, I would go to study. I would go to get my firewood, carry it on my head, carry the firewood on my head, then take it to the market, and from the market I will stay in the class to 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock. Then from 3 o'clock I go to the bush, and I will be in the bush in the forest for the rest of the day till like 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, and come back, and then I'll begin to split the trees and the wood and pack them for tomorrow morning before I go to class. So I remember those hours, and I said, okay, I'm going to do the same thing. You see, I'm going to do the same thing. Before I go to classes, I will study my Bible. I will pray. I will do my quiet time before I go to classes. Then when I go to classes, I'll go and study with every other person, but I will not go home. I will do what I did in the village. You see, my experience in the village of coming from school to the bush, to the forest, to look for firewood, helped me here. So I remembered how I survived in the bush, how I survived in that village. And I said, okay, just like I did in the village, but in the village, I was going under the sun. I was going to, with the discussion of the sun was killing me. And I said, but here, there is library. Library. I never saw library when I was in the village. But here, library is like heaven for me. I mean, it's like, it's like air conditioner. And there is no air conditioner but it's cool because it's winter here. It's cool. I mean, there is rug, there is carpet, there is table. It's not in the sun like I used to be in the sun. And I said, instead of just because in the sun, I could only stay in the sun from 3 to 6, 3 hours or maybe 7 hours. I mean, maybe 4 hours from 3 to 7. So I decided that if I could survive in that bush and in that sun, in that scorching hot sun of Africa, and I could survive and make it, and I didn't die, I said I would not die if I also discipline myself and go right from the class and spend the next 6 hours, because there is no sun, it's just in the comfort of my home, in the library. So I took a decision that for the rest of the 7 years, of the 6 years that I will be studying to do my first degree, second degree, because my scholarship was for first degree, second degree. So I said I will spend the next 6 years of my life spending 6 hours in the library. Just like I did in the village. I said I will prove to this professor that God will see me through. So each time I will go to the class, 7 o'clock, we go to school. We went to school 7 o'clock in the morning. I did my quiet time before then. I will go to school at 7 o'clock. I finish classes at 7:30, so 2:30. I go to the canteen to eat for 30 minutes. Then from there, at 3 o'clock, I'm already in the library. I spent from 3 o'clock to 9:30 or 9 o'clock in the evening, 3 o'clock in the afternoon to 9 o'clock in the evening, every single day from Monday to Friday for the next 6 years of my life, of my university years. And you know what happened? Because I remembered how I suffered in the bush, going from classes to the bush. Now I could go from classes to the library. But instead of, if I was staying in the bush where it was scorching hot and I could only stay 3-4 hours, but here I could stay there for 6 hours. So if for the next 6 years of my life, I spent 6 hours in the library studying. I was studying so much that by the end of the year, I was one of the best students of that professor. And by the next 6 years, when I finished my first degree, I finished with distinction, second degree with distinction. I've set such a big record that 27 years has passed since I finished that university. There is nobody that has broken my record 26 years, 20 something, 26, 27 years later. Why? Why? Because, my experience, my life experience had prepared me to become what I became. Now, let me tell you another story how that helped me. When I started our church here and the white people were not coming, I was so frustrated. I was ready to pay the price. And I told myself I will pay any price. Any price. And I remember my village again, how I needed to be in that bush and in that forest. And I said, if I could survive in that forest, what is the price that I would need to pay now? It's nothing compared to the price that I already paid back in the village. Then also I remember the 6 hours every day in the university. I say if I could sit down in the library for 6 hours after class, here I could also be going to work, and during the day I could also find 6 hours to pray. You know what I did? For the first 4 years of my church, I was praying 6 hours every single day. Every single day, 6 hours, because I had spent that 6 hours already in the library, you see. So your calling is hidden in your background and life story and life experience. Your calling is hidden in your background and life experience. So there are a lot of other things that what I'm saying is that whatever I went through in my life experience now became the key for me to discover my calling. Whatever was my background, what I was, and I hated the background. I actually wanted to commit suicide when I was growing up in that village. 2 or 3 times I had contemplated suicide. I contemplated suicide because life was so difficult. I never knew that background that was so difficult, that was making me to contemplate suicide, was going to be my wealth and one of my greatest It was building in me stamina. It was building in me determination. It was building in me the qualities that I needed to accomplish what I needed to accomplish in life. It was getting me ready for my destiny. Your life calling is hidden in your calling. In your background and life experience. Your life experience is working towards you. Your life experience, your background is working to equip you to become who you need to be. It's preparing you to face tomorrow. It's preparing you to face the future. Thank you so much for watching our videos. Now, we need to spread this word and we need to do it together. For that to happen, we need your help. Just 5 little steps that you could help us to spread the word. Number one thing we need you to do is to like the videos. Please go like this video right now. Number 2, if you have not yet subscribed to our channel, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Number 3, we need you to press and click on that notification bell. You see the bell? Go press on it. And number 4, we need you to go comment. Write your comment, good or bad. Just write what you feel. Number 5, share on every platform. Share on Instagram, share on Facebook. Just share and spread the word. Thank you so much.